We're going to get started in just a couple minutes if you want to try to find a seat.
Good morning, and welcome to the town of Westboro. My name is Christy Williams. I'm the Westboro Town Manager. We are very pleased to host this grand announcement today and really excited to welcome the Department of Fish and Game and the Division of Ecological Restoration who've made this grant opportunity possible. As cities and towns across Massachusetts work to strengthen their environmental resiliency and preparedness, this program offers funding opportunities for ecological restoration projects that are responsive to our changing climate. Programs like these really illustrate the partnership between the Commonwealth and municipalities as we work together to address our critical infrastructure. We want to thank the administration for continuing to support programs such as these, and we look forward to continued collaboration as we work to meet the needs of cities and towns. With that, I'd like to welcome to the podium Department of Fish and Game Commissioner Tom O'Shea.
Thank you so much, Christy, and I want to thank you and the town of Westboro for hosting this event. And it's a really great town. And of course, we have our own Division of Fisheries and Wildlife building here, and just appreciate the welcome and hosting and your partnership. I also want to thank our state legislators, if there are any here. Maybe I haven't seen, but I believe somebody from Representative Kane's office is here. And I just want to thank our state legislature who has really helped to support the Division of Ecological Restoration's program, and funding through time has really helped to grow this because they know how important it is to communities. I also want to thank the Hilly Driscoll administration, really supported and saw the need for expanding our culvert program and replacement program, so that was really great. And I think that people are recognizing that this is such an important piece of work for communities that, we don't often think of culverts. They're kind of like the understated need out there, both in terms of our ecological needs as well as our infrastructure upgrade needs. So the more we can do to bring attention, I think this might be the only program that funds culvert replacement specifically in the state. So this is a great day to celebrate today, announcing that we have over 3.7 million, which I know is not enough, but it's good to get us started here today for funding ecological restoration projects through our Division of Ecological Restoration. And just so everybody knows, and I think you know, that our Division of Ecological Restoration has a mission to restore and protect our rivers and wetlands and watersheds for the benefit of people and the environment. And they work in partnership with towns and nonprofits and organizations and other agencies, basically to help plan these types of projects. They do things such as dam removals, they do the culvert replacements, restoration of former cranberry bogs, farmlands, freshwater, and coastal wetland restoration. So it's a really big mission, and but they're a small but mighty team, and they do great work. And I think you all know that they have an outsized impact in helping communities. So it's a great opportunity for me, anyway, to thank them. And I'd ask all of you, any DER staff, to stand up and just give you all a round of applause. And of course, we don't do it alone. If anything happens, it happens in the communities. And today we can celebrate that we are awarding grants to 21 cities and towns for projects that will help nature and help us as communities adapt to climate change. So, having worked also earlier in my career for a municipality, I do know how important it is to get the kind of funding to get projects going, the seed funding to make things happen, to build the momentum, and to provide the technical assistance that we often need, and especially in some of our smaller communities. I know that last year we were in rural Western Massachusetts, and I think we're in Cummington. I just want to call out that the town of Cummington came all the way out here to be with us today, so that's just excellent. So I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to point out the really important benefits of this type of a project. So, as I said, these culverts are sort of understated, but they're so critical for improving our habitat for fish and wildlife. They restore fish passage, they allow aquatic organisms to move more freely, they help with the connectivity, which we need more and more. We need to allow fish and wildlife to move in a time of climate change where species need to migrate to different parts of the environment, sometimes to move out of places that are too warm or that aren't as in good shape. So we're trying to restore these places so that we can sustain the biodiversity in our river and wetland systems. This also supports the governor's executive order for biodiversity. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's Governor Healy signed an executive order to set conservation goals for biodiversity for 2030, 2040, and 2050. We've been working through a public process to develop those goals. I mean, there's only one other state that's really done anything like this. It's California, and Governor Healy called for the nation's leading protections for biodiversity, and this type of work, culvert work and DER's work is a big part of that, and we can't do it without all of you in the communities. I also just want to mention that we have, intentionally and deliberately recognized the need for communities with underserved and environmental justice populations to be a part of these programs and make sure that they're benefiting and that we're equitably distributing our grants. And over 50% of DER's grants now helps to support restoration and environmental justice populations and communities. So that's just an important feature that I know the Healy-Driscoll administration, as well as myself as commissioner, feel is a priority. I also want to say that, these types of grants, they're positive. I mean, they give us hope. They give us a sense that we can do something with our local environments. And I was just talking to somebody, I met Paula from Pepperell, and if there was anyone who really, expresses that positivity about bringing a community and partners together for change and positive change, it's a great example. And I know we're going to see the culvert work here potentially proposed right here in Westboro, but just want to say that, these grants may be small, but they begin that kind of positive change and outlook. When this restoration work is done, we are hopeful that in any of these types of projects that fish can immediately move into new habitats, that water quality will improve, and that we have new plants and other types of habitat characteristics that come up as a result very quickly, often in response to these changes. So it's really also really satisfying to go out there. I know Beth tells me all the time when she's like, I went out there and I finally saw what it looked like after, and it just makes you feel great. So I think that's another nice thing to think about, that when the work's done, we should go back and look at it and celebrate it. And then lastly, I just want to say that I think we all know, right, that climate change is accelerating. And you'll see the models, you'll often hear what we're looking at for projected flooding or temperature change or precipitation increase. But we're already noticing that sometimes we are surprised by how quickly some of this, the extreme temperatures or extreme precipitation is exceeding our models. So it's really forward-looking to think about your culverts and your transportation in terms of not just the models. You want to make sure that you're consistently thinking about the future in the models, but also knowing that you're sort of managing for many, many years ahead of you. And it's sort of managing, I think, in some ways for the next generation. You're setting them up, hopefully, for a future where they don't have to deal with some of the issues if we don't plan ahead. So I just want to congratulate you all for planning ahead, for being climate smart, and really taking the actions necessary to work in a partnership to address climate change and to help with biodiversity, both of which are global crises at the time, right now. And so for our department, it's really important for us to think about how we can both benefit climate impacts and in biodiversity. So just with that, thank you all. It's really a pleasure and honor to be here, and looking forward to getting out after. I think we have a site visit, which Beth will talk more about. And so with that, I am going to introduce Beth Lambert to come up and give some remarks.
morning. I'm Beth Lambert. I'm the director of the Division of Ecological Restoration. Thank you, Commissioner, for the introduction and for your wise words. And thank you very much to the town of Westboro for hosting us. I get the best part of today. I get to announce grant awards to towns and organizations across the state, which is super exciting. And what I want to say before I do that is that, all of us here in the room know that river and wetland restoration projects are not easy. If you're a culvert replacement project or a dam removal or a wetland restoration project, these projects take years of planning, 3 to 5 years, sometimes decades in certain cases. They take data collection, design, engineering. There's the angst of permitting, the challenge of pulling the funding together. These projects are critical for our future, but they're not easy, they're hard. And so everyone here in this room and all the other applicants that apply to these programs are really the heroes for being willing to do what's hard for the benefit of our communities and for nature. It's easy to do nothing. It's hard to really take the risks, apply for these funds, manage the funds, and get the projects done. So as the commissioner said, it's really you all that are the heroes here, and we applaud your work. I want to introduce 2 DER staff that are grant program managers because these are people that you may be connecting with in the future. Amber, can you please raise your hand? So Amber is our new Culvert Replacement Municipal Assistance Grant Program Manager. She is brand new. She started last month. So step right up and throw all your culvert questions at her, but she'll be working with the CRMA grant recipients going forward. And then Allison, can you raise your hand, please? Allison is our Regional Restoration Partnerships Program Manager. And so she oversees the Regional Restoration Partnerships Program for DER, which I'll speak to in a moment. So before I announce the grants, I just want to thank again and acknowledge the grantees that are here today for being innovators and taking the leadership to make the world a better place. DER's mission is to restore and protect rivers, wetlands, and watersheds for the benefit of people and the environment. Our staff work towards that goal every day, but we can't do that without all of you that are here today. So today's awards are coming from 3 DER programs. The first is the Stream Continuity Program with its Culvert Replacement Municipal Assistance Grant Initiative, which helps municipalities replace undersized and failing culverts with larger, safer structures that provide fish passage, as well as improve public safety. The Regional Restoration Partnerships Program helps nonprofit organizations and regional planning agencies essentially increase their capacity to lead and support restoration within their regions. And then lastly, DER's Priority Projects Program is one of the major vehicles by which we provide funding and technical assistance to wetland and river restoration projects around the state. And so today, all 3 of these programs are awarding grants for projects throughout the state. So it is my great pleasure now to announce the recipients of over $3.7 million in funding through these 3 different programs. To start, I'm announcing $1,755,662 awarded to 14 towns through the Culvert Replacement Municipal Assistance Grant Initiative. And this will support culvert replacements throughout the Commonwealth. These culvert replacements are in any stage from initial data collection and site assessment to engineering and design to permitting or construction. I'm just going to read the towns. We have a list of the specific amounts on hand. So if you want to know the specific amount for a particular town, please follow up with us after the announcement. So town of Billerica, town of Brimfield, town of Chester, town of Cummington, and we have the gentleman from Cummington here today, town of Dudley, Mattapoisett, Monson, Pepperell. Paul is here from Pepperell. Do we have other towns that are receiving culvert grants? Yes, where are you from? Norwood? Winthrop, okay, great. So Petersham, Savoy, Stockbridge, Warren, Westboro, and we'll be going out to take a look at the Westboro culverts after this event. And lastly, but not least, Windsor. So those are the towns that are receiving municipal culvert upgrade grants. There are also 3 culvert replacement projects that are receiving a total of $347,000 in funding through our Culvert Replacement Training Initiative. Through that initiative, these sites, which we fund multiple of these throughout the Commonwealth, they essentially serve as training locations for that region of the state. And throughout the life cycle of that culvert replacement project, surrounding road managers and others are invited to participate in the engineering, design, and construction process as a sort of a hands-on training opportunity so that everyone can see how these projects are designed, permitted, and constructed. So 3 towns are receiving grants for these training sites: Town of Middlefield, Town of Palmer, and Town of Weston. And those grants total up to $347,000. Next, I'm also excited to announce $754,000 in funding awarded through DER's Regional Restoration Partnerships Program. This is the program I mentioned a minute ago that supports regional and watershed organizations to help them, through funding and technical assistance, bring together all of the partners, municipalities and others within their regions to identify, plan, and carry out restoration projects of a wide range of types. This is the major mechanism that we see for really ramping up these types of restoration and adaptation projects across the state. We're currently supporting 3 restoration partnerships, and so today I'm announcing that these 3 will be receiving funding for the coming year. They are the Buzzards Bay Coalition, which leads and supports the Buzzards Bay Watershed Restoration Partnership, the Housatonic Valley Association, which supports the Berkshires Clean, Cold, and Connected Partnership, and then the Merrimack River Watershed Association, which leads the Merrimack Restoration Partnership. And you'll be hearing in a minute from Matthew Cranny, who is the restoration coordinator for that partnership. Finally, through our Priority Projects program, I'm happy to announce the award of $899,000 to Friends of the Herring River for the Herring River Estuary Restoration Project. This project is the largest tidal and estuary restoration project ever undertaken in Massachusetts and the largest in the North Atlantic coastal region. It will restore approximately 890 acres of degraded salt marsh and estuarine habitat once completed. That project is currently under construction, and so these funds will support the continuing construction of that project. Congratulations to all of the recipients, and DER and our staff are thrilled to be working with you in the coming year to carry out these amazing projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beth, and really appreciate all your leadership with Division. You've done a great job, and your team as well, so thank you. And with that, I'd like to just invite if there are any legislators here want to make remarks. If not, we will move on, and I'd like to introduce Chris Piant, the Director of the Town of Westboro Department of Public Works.
Good morning. I was just asked to maybe make a few comments about the impact and the value of this grant. I think I can speak for probably every town here and those that aren't, that we certainly appreciate the funding to allow us to move forward on projects. But I think the second piece of that is not to be forgotten, which is the technical assistance. We've worked with DER quite a bit over the last several years on this particular project that I'll briefly describe in a minute, and just gotten lots of good feedback to help drive and help us navigate kind of the process for doing some of this work. I think earlier I was talking to the commissioner and he mentioned about 25,000 culverts across Massachusetts. We have a couple hundred here in Westboro. And if you think about, just say 100 culverts in your town and you do one a year, I mean, it takes you 100 years to do them. And we know that you're not replacing one every year because we don't have the money. So the magnitude of the work and the dollars involved is, I think, pretty substantial. And so thank you for helping us move things along because this is good stuff. In terms of our project, just briefly, just to give kind of an idea of the complexities associated with these culverts, which many of you know, but maybe some don't. Our project is just down the road. It's at an intersection of two major roads in town. In this span of about 2 football fields, there are 8 different culverts crisscrossing the road. The stream divides and comes back together again. They're old concrete pipes that are collapsing in some cases, and we have a well, one of our public water wells, right in the middle of that. And so over the last year, I'm sure many of you remember the rains we've had, especially last summer, and we were inches away from breaching into our public water infrastructure, which is obviously a big deal. And so this project is going to help us. This funding is going to help us design a solution to hopefully mitigate the threat to our infrastructure, but also restore the stream and make and ecologically the system a little bit better. So thank you for this grant, and again, speaking for all the towns, I'm sure you all appreciate it too. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it off to Matthew. Oh, I'm sorry, back to you.
Thank you. So we'd like to bring up Matthew Cranny from the Merrimack Restoration Partnership and say a few words. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, I'm Matthew Cranny with the Merrimack River Watershed Council. I'm really happy to be here today. I want to say thank you to the Department of Fish and Game and the Division of Ecological Restoration, and also to the town of Westboro. Westboro is in the headwaters of the Merrimack, so we're really, really excited to see that we have some good culvert work happening here. And I just would like to say, thank you for again receiving this funding. This is going into the 4th year of the partnership. Actually, about a year ago is when I started this position, and I was able to go to that event in Western Mass. And it's been great to see how DERs continue to really comprehensively expand the rate of this aquatic connectivity and wetland restoration work we're doing. And I would just say that these 3 programs also, they kind of work really well in synthesis. And I think that that's one of the great things the DER is doing is our partnership grew out of informal collaboration on a dam removal that's hopefully advancing into the construction phase at the end of this year. That project has become a DER priority project, and it was those informal relationships starting around that program that inspired us to apply to formalize and become a partnership. So I'm really excited to kind of see how this partnership has been able to increase our capacity to strengthen the relationships we already had with previous partners in the nonprofit and municipal sectors, and also reach out and find new partners to continue to broaden this work. I just want to say thanks again, and really excited to see all this new work get done.
Great. Thank you very much, Matthew. And apologies, I think I got your organization wrong. So the River Watershed Association. Okay. The river is the important part, exactly. And having grown up on the Merrimack, I agree. All right, so I believe at this point in time, we'd like people to stick around for a group photo from all the grant awardees, and then you're all invited to travel to a site visit to look at the culvert that's, now I don't know what stage it's at, but there's a culvert right up the road here at the intersection of Moore Street and Upton Road. And it's about a 3-minute drive from here, so I think you just kind of keep going down a little ways, and it's at the intersection of Morse and Upton. So, and this is Upton Road right here, is that right? No? Okay. So maybe somebody else can say a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So Chris will help us out later on. So we'll need a group photo, and then I invite you all to come out. We can learn more about the culvert and the project, and it's going to be nice weather out there, so it's a little cooler. So, although in New England they call that fake fall, but we'll take it. Well, with that, I just want to again thank you all for coming out here today. I want to thank Christy Williams, town manager in the town of Westboro, for hosting, and hope to see you again next year. So, thank you.
Cozy. Right in the middle of the mall.
Just want to just get everybody's attention just for one more moment. Chris is going to let us know about directions if we want to go to the site visit.